Okay, hello. I almost said good morning again, but it is not. It is afternoon. Happy Friday. Thanks for being with me today. We are going to begin our 45-minute yoga practice. So we'll start as we normally do with a few minutes of meditation to help switch out our hat. So I would invite you to come to a comfortable seated position of your choice, whether that's cross-legged, maybe kneeling on the knees. You, of course, can come down onto the back, but if you do that, let's keep soles of the feet on the mat, knees up to the sky. You need to make yourself more comfortable by bringing a folded blanket underneath the hips to sit on, or maybe even a block or a pillow. I would invite you to grab that now. And we will jump right in. So hands can fall wherever they naturally lie as we close the eyes and start to tap into the breath, inhaling in through the nose, down into the belly, activating that yogic breathing. You start to become aware of the body, feeling the connection to the ground through our sits bones, the spine growing taller and longer with your inhales, shoulders softening and dropping on the exhale. As we start to tap into that body connection, the body intelligence, let's take a moment to begin deepening our breath by lengthening the exhales. Making them longer than the inhales, attempting to completely empty the lungs. You have moments of the mind wandering. See if you can switch into the role of an observer, not trying to get rid of the thoughts or force a quiet mind, but to let the thoughts come, see them, and then just as easily let them go. Let's take 3 more breath cycles. Deep inhales in through the nose. Long, slow exhales. Inhale. And exhale out through the nose or mouth. And one last round, inhale. And exhale. Excellent. Gently open the eyes. We're going to bring the left foot into the midline. Heel comes right to the pelvis as we bring the right leg out long. We sit up nice and tall and start to root down through the right leg. So we're pressing down through the heel, through the top of the thigh, and pulling that femur bone back into the hip socket. Right hand comes either to the ground at the inner thigh, the outer thigh, or we can bring forearm down to the mat. So we start to wake up the hamstrings. We're going to do a lot of focus today on the low back, an area that many people suffer pain and tension from, whether occasionally or chronically. So we open the chest towards the midline. So we're widening through the pectoral muscles, pulling the shoulder blades together, shoulders down away from the ears. We inhale, left arm comes up to the sky. If this is enough for you, then stay here. Otherwise, we'll exhale, bringing the left arm or the left hand over towards the right toes. Maybe you reach the right toes, or maybe you're just in that general direction. Listen to your body. Feel what works for you today. We keep the head neutral and straight, neck straight, so we're not dumping or letting the neck fall. We're going to stay here for 2 breath cycles. So we inhale in through the nose, really feeling the skin of the low back expand. We're firm through the right leg. Inhale. One more. Exhale. And after your exhale, we stay nice and low as we shift the belly button towards the right leg and begin to drop the nose and forehead towards the knee. So you can bring the hands to the outside of the calf. You can bring them to the outside of the foot. Maybe you bring one to the outside of the foot, one to the toes. As we stay rooted down through the hips. So left hip may want to try to come up. And we root it back down. If you feel that you can't do that in this low position, then come off a little bit, elevating the chest. Gaze comes forward, out over the toes. And stay for one more breath. And on the exhale, we engage the belly, gently, slowly rising back up, coming through the midline and taking it to the other side. So right leg comes in, heel to pelvis. We're active through the right toes, active through the left toes up to the sky. Sit up nice and tall and just notice how this side may feel a little bit different. Of course, you can always bring that blanket or block or pillow underneath the hips, bringing them above the knees. We'll find our hand placement on this side. And we inhale, right arm comes up. And exhale, right fingers over towards the left toes. Neck stays neutral, chest stays open. towards the midline as much as your body will allow today. We stay for 2 more breath cycles, really feeling the skin of the low back expanding and then releasing and softening on the exhale. Inhale. Inhale. Allow your exhale to fully finish. And then we'll stay low, shifting the belly button towards the right leg as we find knee or nose to knee. Or we're here. We stay for 1 more inhale. And exhale, we slowly roll ourselves back up, coming through to the midline. Left foot comes in to meet the right. Maybe you play around with bringing heel to ankle, heel to pelvis, so the heels are stacked in line with the pelvis. Siddhasana. And we sit up nice and tall. We stay for the inhale, and on the exhale, we start to bend at the hips, rooting the sits bones down into the ground, bringing ourselves forward. If having your heels in this way is uncomfortable, you can just come to a cross-legged position as we drop the forearms down onto the ground. So elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Gaze comes straight down, fingers are planted nice and wide on your mat or the ground in front of you. You can drop the crown if you'd like towards the earth, releasing any pressure or tension in the neck. We stay active through the feet to protect our knees. And exhale, draws our belly button towards the spine as we gently roll up to a seated position. Both arms come up overhead on the inhale. And exhale, right hand drops to left knee as we find a seated twist. Maybe looking out past the left shoulder. We stay for the inhale. Exhale draws us back through center as again, we lift the arms on the inhale. Exhale, we drop left hand to right knee as we find our twist. Stay for the inhale. Exhale draws you back through center, and we either roll through the ankles or swing the legs off to the side, coming onto all fours. When you get there, we're still in slow-mo here. So use tabletop as your transition, but we're gonna bring the big toes to touch, knees come as wide as the yoga mat as we sink our hips back to the heels and extend the arms out long, melting the belly, chest, and forehead down to the ground. Extended child's pose. And again, bring your attention to the skin of the low back, really feeling the breath expand as we send it down into the belly on the inhale. And feel the release and softening on the exhale. Stay for the inhale, and on the exhale, hips stay nice and heavy as we walk both hands off the left side of the mat. Again, dropping the forehead towards the earth. You need a little more stretch in the side body. You can always bring the right hand on top of the left. We stay for the inhale. Exhale fuels our movement as we stay nice and low, coming through the midline and taking it to the other side. On your next exhale, we'll bring ourselves back through center. We press into the tops of the feet to bring ourselves up to all fours. Big toes are going to stay touching as we bring ourselves into a variation of tabletop. So wrists are right underneath the shoulders. We're pressing down firmly through the tops of the feet still. Belly button is engaged, drawn back up towards the spine. Gaze is straight down. We're pressing away from the yoga mat in our fingertips, doming out our hands, protecting the wrists. And we inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, gaze is forward. Exhale, we draw the tailbone towards the belly button, rounding through for our cat. So this will feel different on the groin and low back than it does when we do our traditional tabletop. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, we round through, really pulling that tail towards the belly button. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, we round through. One more round. Gaze is forward, hips reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, round through, really squeezing, activating that abdomen. Exhale, we come back to neutral, tabletop position. Knees come underneath the hips. As we square off into tabletop, we walk the hands maybe slightly out. As we curl the toes under, we stay for the inhale. And exhale, hips are going up high for our first downward facing dog. Pedaling it out. If you have active back pain today, definitely keep the knees bent. So we're taking more precautions with keeping the spine straight. We press away from the yoga mat, lifting out of the shoulder joints. Hands are wide, toes are firm down into the mat. Maybe you straighten one leg and then the other. Let's stay for one more breath. Inhale and exhale. We're going to step up to the top of our mat, finding ourselves in a forward fold. Maybe giving a deep bend to the knees. As we clasp the elbows maybe and gently rock side to side. And then let's find a moment of stillness, letting the head hang. Release the hands from the elbows. Left leg straightens, right knee stays bent as we look underneath the left armpit. Feeling that stretch from the ankle all the way up the IT band into the hip and right up into the low back. Exhale, we bend the left leg, straighten the right, looking underneath the right armpit. And exhale, bending the right knee, we come back through center and exhale, gently roll our way up to mountain. Hands shine forward as we take a moment to let the blood settle. And return to our breath. So maybe you close the eyes here while you do a body scan, checking your alignment. So feet are right underneath the hips. We're pressing into the triangle underneath our feet, the heel, ball joint of the big toe, ball joint of the pinky toe. Maybe you lift the toes to test this. And setting them down in a wide stance. Knees are engaged. Pelvis is right underneath the heart space. Head over the heart, earlobes in line with the shoulders. Shoulders are down away from the ears and shoulder blades pinching together. Take one more inhale here with the eyes closed. When we exhale, we gently open the eyes, keeping the gaze soft. We're going to shift the weight over into the left foot. And we're going to bring the right leg behind the left leg off the left side of the mat. Toes are pointing forward. You can keep some buoyancy in the left leg or in the left knee if you feel that that's what your body needs, or maybe we straighten that left leg. Inhale, both arms come up overhead. We grab right wrist with left shoulder as we take the right arm over towards the left. Shoulders and chest are rotated open. So shoulder blades pinch together, shining the armpits towards the front of the mat. Exhale, we release the arms and bring ourselves back to center. Right foot comes right underneath the right hip. As we shift our way into the right foot, left leg comes behind right leg, coming off the right side of the mat. Toes are pointed forward. Either buoyancy in the right knee, or we straighten that right leg, activating the knee. Inhale, both arms come up overhead, right hand grabs left wrist as we take the left hand over to the right side of the mat. Hips are squared off to the front of the mat, so we're not turning towards the left corner. Stay for one more inhale. And exhale, we release the arms and step the left foot back underneath the hips. Inhale, both arms come up overhead. Palms kiss together for 1 second and then flip externally as we swan dive, bending at the hips, knees bent into our forward fold. Inhale, we straighten the legs and lift ourselves halfway. Let's stay here for a minute. So you can have either hands on the tops of the thighs, hands on the front of the shins, or if you have the range today, you can keep fingertips on the ground. So we're engaging the belly. Belly button's drawn up to the spine to protect the low back. Shoulders are pulling away from the ears, shoulder blades pinching together. Gaze is straight down. Legs are firm with knees engaged. Take one more breath here. And exhale, we release belly to thighs. Crown shines down to the mat. Both hands come down to the mat as we step the left foot back. Right foot is going to stay exactly where it's at as we find ourselves in low lunge. So you can either stay here with the knee elevated or you can drop that back foot. Bring the top of the foot flush with the mat. And we stay here for 3 breath cycles, breathing into the hip on the right leg, the groin in front of the hip on the left leg. We're conscious of keeping the right knee above the ankle, pressing firmly into the right foot. One more breath cycle. And then stay for one more inhale. On the exhale, we release the hands, press into the right foot, powering up, arms come with us up overhead. Inhale. And on the exhale, left hand comes to the outside of the right knee as we open the right arm towards the back edge of the mat. Now, when we're here, we're again shifting our belly button towards the right thigh. So we're twisting from our core and not wrenching from our shoulders. Pressing down firmly through both feet. Exhale, arms come back overhead as we square off through center, arms come up overhead. We inhale to grow tall. Exhale, right hand comes to the right inner arch as we open left arm up to the sky. Exhale, left hand replaces right as we swing right arm up towards the sky. Exhale, right hand drops to frame the foot. We lift the back leg, so toes curl under, lift the back leg so we can transition. As we draw the right foot back to meet the left, finding our place in downward facing dog. We're here for 3 breath cycles. And on your last exhale, we'll step ourselves up to the top of the mat, rolling right up to mountain. Arms come with us up overhead, palms descend at the heart space. Big inhale, long exhale as we control the breath, the body. Arms go down to come up on the inhale. Fingertips kiss together, and then we open palms wide, swan diving down into our forward fold. Inhale lifts you halfway. We're strong in the low body, strong in the core. Exhale, fold, belly to thighs. Fingertips come down to the mat as we step the right foot back. Either keeping that back leg elevated if you don't want to be off of the knee, or you want just a little bit more of some leg work today. Or we drop the knee, bringing the top of the foot flush with the mat. We're in low lunge. Knee stays above the ankle. We're pulling that femur bone back into the hip socket. Stay for 3 more breath cycles, really sinking into this posture, feeling your way through it. Maybe you close your eyes to help you do that. And on your last exhale, we come off of the hands, powering into that left foot, rising into a modified high lunge. We stay for the inhale to grow nice and tall. Exhale, right hand comes to the outside of the left knee as we shift the belly button towards that left thigh. Left arm reaches back behind us in space. Maybe you look back at your left hand, or just keep your gaze straight, neutral. We're firmly pressing down into both feet, squeezing the inner thighs towards the midline for balance. One more inhale. Exhale, we swing the arms back up, modified high lunge, squaring off to the front of the mat. Inhale, exhale, left hand drops right next to the left arch as we swing right arm open towards the sky. Exhale, right hand replaces the left as we open left arm, left hand up to the sky. Left hand drops, framing the foot as we curl the toes of the back leg, lifting the back knee, drawing the left foot back to meet the right, and we find ourselves in downward facing dog. Take a moment to notice how your body feels in this downward dog, how it's different and changed and opened even a bit from when we did our first downward dog today. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, we step just the right foot up in between the hands for a moment of transition. And then we pivot the right toes towards the left side of the mat, drawing ourselves through to the midline, wide-legged forward fold. So when you're here, toes are pointed into the midline slightly and heels are pointed out. So we've got this encouraging this rotation of the hips up towards the sky. Inhale, and on the exhale, we drop the crown towards the mat. We're pressing into the outer edge of the foot and the triangle for stability. Arches are lifted, And we have activity up through the middle of the leg. Stay for the inhale. And on the exhale, we walk both hands over to the right foot, maybe clasping the ankle and the top of the foot. Exaggerating this stretch from the ankle along the IT band of the right leg, all the way up to the hip. Exhale draws you through center gently as we take it to the other side. And exhale draws you through center. We come up onto the fingertips of the hands so that we can heel toe, our feet in slightly wider than the hips. This time, heels are pointing to the midline, toes are pointed externally as we begin to drop the hips right in between the heels. Malasana, yogi squat. As always, if this is uncomfortable, you can bring a block or a set of books underneath the pelvis, or you can bring hands down in front of you to the mat and maybe come up onto the toes a little bit for a little more stability and support. If you are here, we'll bring elbows to the insides of the knees. Hands come together at the heart space as we let the tailbone drop to the earth. Heart reaches towards the thumbs. Let's take one more inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to drop the right hand to the mat. So shoulder comes down to the inside of the right knee. We're going to do a little yogi twist here. Right hand comes down to the mat, right in the midline, so right in front of the pelvis. Left hand comes to the inside of the left knee. As we open the chest, over towards the left, gaze comes up towards the sky. Exhale, we release through center and take it to the other side. So left shoulder comes to the inside of that left knee, left hand drops. As we open the shoulder, or excuse me, the chest towards the right, gaze comes up to the sky. Exhale draws you through center. One hand drops behind you, one in front, as we help lower ourselves onto the bum and roll onto the back. When you get there, knees come up to the chest. Hands either interlace around the shins, or you can grab each shin individually. Whatever feels best for your body today. Low back is flush with the mat. Belly is nice and heavy. Ribs are soft. Shoulders pinned down to the earth. After your next exhale, we'll release the hands. but we will keep the legs where they are as we run the fingers down the front of the shins, front of the ankles, and clasp the outside of the foot. Or maybe you clasp just the shin. Or if that's still too much for you, you can clasp just the outside, or excuse me, the back of the hamstrings underneath the knees and do a modified version of where we're going, which is happy baby. Otherwise, we'll clasp the outside of the feet, find our foundation, so low back is flush with the mat, shoulders are pinned down to the ground. We're pulling that femur bone back down into the hip socket. We inhale, and on the exhale, we shine those hamstrings and soles of the feet up towards the sky. So we're practicing and teaching the body stability in the joints here, but also bringing this nice hip compression to the front of the hip, lengthening through the hamstring, the groin, and the low back. We're sending the tailbone towards the front of the mat to find stability. One more inhale and exhale. We drop, bringing the soles of the feet together and then down to the mat. Excellent. Once the soles come down to the earth, they're going to kiss back together, knees open wide, recline bound angle. Hands can fall wherever they lie naturally, whether on the front of the hips, out to the side, maybe one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart space. As always, you have two options for your low back here. You can either scoop the tailbone up towards the sky, bringing the low back really flush with the mat and exaggerating this engagement and stretch in the groin. Or we send the tailbone down to the earth, rocking the pelvis, bringing a little back bend in the low back. Or you alternate between both. Stay for one more inhale. And exhale, hands come to the outside of the thighs as we guide the legs back together. We're crossing right leg over left, like how you do when you sit in a chair, knee to knee. Left toes are pointing forward. We inhale, and on the exhale, we're dropping both knees over towards the right, using the weight of the right leg to help gravity exaggerate this reclined twist, targeted at the external hip muscles and connectors on the left low back. Exhale, belly button to spine, drawing us through center. So when we pull that belly button to spine, activating the abdomen, we're protecting the low back. Doing that often will create that muscle memory. Inhale, left leg comes up and over the right, knee to knee. Stay for the inhale, and exhale, we gently, slowly guide both knees over to the left. If this is a challenge or it feels uncomfortable to have the legs crossed that way, you can bring both soles of the feet to the mat. Don't cross the legs and just drop both knees over to that side. One more inhale. Exhale, belly button to spine as we draw ourselves back through center safely. We unravel, send both legs out long to the front of the mat. And allow the body to relax and rest for as long as you have available today. If that's no time, that's okay. I would encourage you to maybe find some time later before bed to do just a shavasana, just 10 minutes of lying on your mat, either in silence or with some soft music. You can come back to these practices often to help relieve any low back tension and pain. If you have questions, of course, you can reach out to Ellie, who will pass them on to me. Otherwise, I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.